Hello everybody, welcome to a live stream today on a Tyros 5. Now we've got a Tyros 5, I'm on the 61, but we've got a 76 one behind me here. And they're a wonderful keyboard. They've been going for a few years now, but they're such a powerful, top of the range Yamaha keyboard. I want to show you some things on it today. If you've got models like the S series keyboards, the S770, 970, 975, 775, 900s right back, they'll still be the same kind of layout that you'll be familiar with. And this is the beauty of the Yamaha products. They have the same kind of layout, same kind of button sections to know exactly where you are. So even if you started off on a different model to this is a really good model to go for because it's very, very clear to use. Now I want to go through some various questions you've already asked me. One of them was about the recording into the audio section. I want to go through some of the style features today and explain some of those. So thanks for joining us if you're here. Hi to Scott in Tyneside, and anybody out there that if you want to drop us a comment, we've got some comments at the bottom of your video. You can send us, let us know what you're thinking and what you'd like to learn about. But today I'll go through some things that I can show you, and if you've got anything specific then do let me know. So the first thing I want to go through is the style section. Now in the styles on this screen here, if we go to the main screen, when I press the any of the styles, you'll see them come up on the main page, but there are page numbers at the bottom here. We can go along there's two rows of buttons along the bottom of the screen. If we just go back to the other shot for a moment, Charlie, not that one, that one. These are your two rows of buttons, and they relate to the two rows of pictures of buttons on the screen here. So it's not a touch screen like the Genos or the SX, but if we wanted to go to page 3, which is on the screen here, it's the top row. So we press the bottom button, the top button of the buttons under number 3, and that will go to page 3. So we can coordinate which row we're looking at and work out which button. Now we have two menus to choose from. You've got the menu which is always on show, and that's got these 4 buttons at the bottom. The first button is repertoire, add to music finder, OTS info and recommend. Now the OTS info is a very good screen if you've not found it, and this will show you what sounds the one touch settings will give you from the keyboard if you want their help. So if we go to the bottom of number 6, that will now show me on the screen what I've just been using in my sounds. I've got the Bossa Nova selected. It automatically gave me a speed of 120. The first sound, which is the one that I've got on here, is the breathy saxophone. If I go to the second one, it's the electroacoustic guitar. Third one is the organ sound. I didn't use that one. And the fourth one is all 3 voices, muted trumpet, alto flutes. So just going back to that first page of any of the different styles that you can select from, the button at the bottom, number 6, OTS info, shows exactly what we're going to get. And if the one touch setting link is turned on the left hand side here, just on the left hand side, you can now see that even if I go the A, B, C or D, that still shows me on the screen. The orange part is the one I have selected. Okay, so that's a really good screen to find. There's actually another screen like that on the registration area, which I'll just jump out of to show you. If I exit for a moment, and if I go into one of my registrations here, and I can press my we're in the direct access here, and then the registration buttons, it does exactly the same for my registrations that I've got on the 8 blue buttons. So if you want to know what you're going to get as a component, we've got on here the style look, French 50s 139, which intro is part of the registration, and then it shows you all the backing. So you can find out exactly what you're going to get. If we do it again on another, let's go to another bank, we'll go into the registrations. I'll just go to the Hovis one, and then we can see it from this page. Actually, we can see info, and that shows us, or we can go direct access on the main panel and then over to one of the buttons, and that takes us to that same page. So a really useful page to get familiar with. Let's just see if anyone's joined us. Oh, they have. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. It's great to have people watching live. Obviously this will be a video that you can watch again and again, so if there's things that I've shown you that you think you'd like to try on yours, you can pause it and things if you're watching it after the event. That's still on there. Hi to Bart M. Nice to have you with us, Bart. David Lucas, hi David. Hi David, on yesterday's live stream, Chris saved a song to MIDI. How do you transfer from Google to Logic? Changes and sounds awful. So it sounds like you've seen a MIDI file that you've put into Logic and the voices have changed. Well, all of the way that MIDI works is that it's using a set of voices from whatever you're playing back through. So Logic on your computer will be using the voices on the sound card that's in your computer. Now, depending on the quality of the sound card, if it's the one that was free with it or one that you've bought to make it sound fantastic, then you're only going to get hearing back on your computer the sound of the computer's sound card. So whenever you listen to a Genos or a Tyros SX, the sounds are amazing because these are instruments specifically made with really good samples to use as a keyboard. Now when you go to use those through something like a computer, it's only going to use the sounds of that computer sound card. So maybe it's worth buying a better sound card if you're going to be using it in Logic. The other way is to just do all the work in Logic, any changes, and then play it back through your SX or your MIDI, Genos or Tyros, and it will sound brilliant again. But what you've got to remember is that in MIDI, all the sounds are numbered 1 to 128, and that means that you're going to have a sound that the keyboard produced, but it's just finding the nearest voice on whatever you play it back through. So maybe for you need to listen to it back again after you've manipulated it on your Logic program and hear it back, and it will sound great again. But in MIDI is using the sounds from that interface, and in the case of Tyros, Genos, SX, they're really good sounds because Yamaha are brilliant at it. Your computer company probably won't be quite as good as producing really good, accurate sounds, and that's where it might break down. So I hope that helps, David. But when you've done all your changes and corrected all your things you want to do, put it back through your keyboard again, and it should sound wonderful. Hi Terence, nice to have you back with us again. Hi everyone. Stephen Johnson just logged in from Brechin in Angus. Oh, well done. Thanks very much. Good to have you with us, Stephen. And John from Northwich, nice to have you back, John. Just logged in. I enjoyed your tips and tricks every time. This is Bart. I wish we had someone like you in the Netherlands. Are you in the Netherlands? Right, okay. Who will show us around the keyboards. Well, this is the beauty of a live stream. Anyone in the world can watch it, and we're getting people from around the world. And if we can help some people, that's really nice to have. Scott in Tyneside, you just showed us about the OTS. Can that be done on the SX900 where it shows you what the OTSs are? Yes, exactly the same. So what you can do, Scott, if you press the direct access button and then you hit the OTS link, OTS buttons here, that will go straight to all those on the screen, exactly the same. But you have also on the SX models and the Genos models, when you're on the styles, at the top there's a file button and there's a menu button. If you go to menu, there's one that says registration info, and that will show you almost exactly the same page as we're using now. Okay, let's go to some more stuff on the styles then. So we're in the style section, and we've got these rows of all the pages on the top here. Something else that some of you may have not quite realised, there are two views of all your styles. Now, I personally prefer this view where you've got the 10 on the page, but if we hit the top of number 7, you see them as a list, and you will see 15 on the page rather than only 10. But for eyesight, people who have bad eyesight or need help, then this screen isn't quite so clear in most cases because it's a lot smaller. But you can then go through page by page and see them 15 on a page. But certainly I would find that the best view, if you press the top of number 7 again, where it says view, and that takes you back to this clearer view, in my opinion. Okay, so we've got the view button, which is just at the top of number 7. We've got the OTS link we've covered at the bottom of number 6. We've got another one here that's called recommend. Now recommend is a really good feature, and I believe this might be, I think maybe this one and the S975 were the only models that have that feature on it. So recommend basically is a way of finding styles that suit the rhythmic pattern of your song. So I'll give you an idea how that works. It doesn't go straight to the right styles. It allows you to type in on the keys your melody line, and it will then give you some suggestions of rhythms that have the same rhythmic pattern. So I'll put in sort of a samba type rhythm. I'll put in Tico Tico just to give it a good test. We'll go to recommend, and it says playback of the style song is stopped. That's because I've got sync start. Okay. Recommend are assigned to the keyboard. Are you sure you want to continue? Okay. So this now shows me a picture of a style recommender, and it says press start, tap out the rhythm that you have in mind, and then choose from the 8 best suggestions. So we've got 2 backing type 3/4 and 4/4 sort of waltz backing, and we've got the 4/4 typical backing, and we can either tap it in by playing it on drum parts, which are shown at the bottom of the keyboard, or we can actually play the melody of our song as well. So if I press start here, as soon as I start playing, it will just take those notes and work out the kind of rhythm of my song. So we go. Okay, so it's now chosen on the screen for me here 8 different backings that it thinks will suit that thing I've just played. Now it plays them back in a particular key, and it never matches whatever I want to play, but you'll get an idea. If I play my same melody now along with the ones it's given me, so the first one is Cool Shuffle. That works fine, doesn't it? Now that's Cool Shuffle, which I would never have chosen for Tico Tico, but you've got to remember there are lots of styles that have very similar drum beat emphases, and that's what this is doing. So if we go down to the next one, we've got Epic Ballad. I'm not sure about that one. Well, it works fine. Let's go down again. Samba's the one I would have probably guessed. Works fine. 70s Disco. That works fine. Modern Picking. Irish Dance. Yeah. Modern 6/8 Ballad. There's just that emphasis at just the right places, and that's where all these rhythms they've looked at it to work out whereabouts the main beats of what you're playing is. Last one on the 8. So this is a really good feature. I remember Rollingston Gomes asking me about this one. I don't know if he's watching today yet, but it's a feature that is on Tyros, and it's a great way to just give you some suggestions without you going through all of the styles. But as we said the other day, you know, you need to try out these other styles because many of them will work very, very well. So let's say we're going to play this one now. I'm not going to choose the samba that I would normally use it with. I think I'm going to go for Modern 6/8 Ballad. And when you've chosen it, you just press OK in the bottom right hand corner here. Okay, and now I can play it with my Modern 6/8 Ballad. It works really well, doesn't it? So we've got this way of going into these different ones to try, and you can just pick out the one you like, and then you've got those to try. So we'll just show that where that was again. We go into the style section for many of the styles. We go to recommend at the bottom of number 7, and it shows us this keyboard setup. We can choose between a 3/4 and a 4/4. We press start. Let's do something a little bit different this time then. What am I going to play? Oh, here we go then. Just do When the Saints. Okay, so let's try something a bit different. Good. Let's try a bit more down. Let's try another one, the Country Shuffle. Scandinavian slow rock. Incidentally, in the entertainer section are loads of really good backings, which are some of them are schlagery and sort of European disco dance music, but they're really, really good. And a lot of them are actually quite similar like this to a swing rhythm or a bossa nova, something that you would normally choose. So this is Scandinavian slow rock here, and it's a really good style, but I would have never chosen it, and I don't think I've ever used it before, but that's the way that this style recommender on the Tyros 5s is brilliant for that. Let's just see what any of you have commented. Okay, thank you, David. Just shows what they yes. Michael Chung, hi Michael. Hi Michael. I am Michael from Hong Kong. I'm your big fans. Nice to meet you. Well, nice to meet you too, Michael. And thanks for joining us. Don't know what time it will be there. David Lucas, is there a rhythm recommender function for Genos? I'm sure there isn't. I've never found one, and it's a shame. It's just something they didn't put in. Whether it takes a lot of memory or something, I'm not quite sure, but it's not in there to my knowledge. John from Northwich, is that feature on Genos? No. Good attempt. Thanks, Scott. Need all the encouragement I can get. Okay, and that's me, blind as a bat, Scott. Yeah, maybe. Okay, so yes, this is called Style Recommender. It's a really good thing. If you play it badly in, you can just go retry on the right of the screen. Look here, and then it starts the waiting process again. You've got to just sort of catch it through that sort of timing to get your melody in. So if we play, what did I play before? So we can go through some of these. Let's see. I didn't play it very well probably, but let's rumba. Oh, nice. Let's go down to show tune. So some won't be as good as others. Rumba, it's probably more normal. Pub piano, I would never have played on the beach to that. Let's try it. I like it. Let's go, okay. I like it. So this is where it just gets you to try new styles, and there's hundreds of styles in here with lots and lots of variations and OTS sounds to try, and I think it's a really good thing to do. It's, if you've got some spare time one day, just plug in and try that and see the recommender feature, just see how it gives you styles that you would have never found. There's so many just on the next pages that you don't kind of get to, and this sort of forces you to try out different sounds and different styles, and they all can seem to work fine then. They're just not the ones you would have chosen automatically. So do try. That's the recommender. Now we'll go back into the style section. We've got some more buttons here. We've got recommend that we've just covered. We've got the view above it that we covered, where you see the different view of the screen, and that jumps between the two. We've also got OTS info, which shows us what we're going to get on the page, and then we've got one called add to MF. Now this is quite a good one. Let's say you find a song that works very well with a particular style. Okay, so let's see. We'll think of an example. Well, I play the Minder theme to where is it on here? Blues rock. Let's just try it and give you an idea. Okay, so we've got blues rock here, and it's set to 120, which is probably okay. I'd probably play it. Let's just listen. Maybe play it just slightly slower if I was playing it. So we could think, well, the speed's slightly out, maybe bring it down by 4 or 5. The best sound to start when I play it is going to be the A sound, the piano. With my one-touch settings, that gives me the piano setting. And I would always start off with intro 2, which gives me this really good built-up intro. Let's just try it. And then I go into it. So I've now got my intro 2 as my first intro choice. A is what I would go to for the piano sound, and I would also have it set a little bit slower than it probably is now. So I'm now going to press my OTS info button, which is just at the bottom of the screen here, bottom of number 6. No, I'm not. I'm sorry, I pressed the wrong button. I'm going to press Add to Music Finder, which is bottom of number 5. Okay, pay attention, David. Now this then asks me to give this a name for the Music Finder. I'm going to add this song as a Music Finder song of one of my own songs. So I'm going to press the A button, and I'm going to delete the old letters with the delete. This is the bottom of number 7, and I'm going to put a capital M, and then I'm going to go through. You press them fairly fast to get them through. There's 4 to choose from on most buttons. I want the I, so I've got to press it 1, 2, 3 to get the I. The N is the second one, so I've got to press top of number 7 twice, and the D. Now I've got to wait for it to come off, and then press the E, and the R, and then a space is this second one along here, and I'm going to put a capital again for T, and then H, 2 on this one, 2 on this one. Oh, I missed it. H, E, M, E. Mind a theme. Okay. Now along here, I've also got some things I can change. So I've got the beat. Well, it is a 4/4 beat. That's okay. And I've got let's have a look. Okay. And then on the bottom here, I've got my speed. Now I'm going to make it a little bit slower. So I'm going to take this down to 114. And then I want it to start with intro number 2. And I want it to go into main A, which was my piano sound. Now at this point, I could actually allocate it to a genre of music. Quite a lot of people link all the songs that they play regularly into genres. And you can even have a new genre here. And then I could even go into genres here and call it a genre of David. Okay. So I've called it, and I can put other songs that I play regularly into this David genre. So we've kind of made playlists out of the Music Finder facility. And then when I've got everything set, I can just check through its Minder. I could put another a keyword in there. Style is blues rock. It's 4/4, and I put it straight into my favourites. Look, this is another thing. In the Music Finder on all of the keyboards up to the Tyros 5, we have a favourites tab. And if I put the on here, that means it'll go straight to the favourites tab. So it will be one of my favourite songs. And obviously if I'm playing it and I've chosen it, the chances are you want to retain it in that short list. Okay, and then I'm going to go OK. And it's now adding it to the Music Finder. And it will now show me whereabouts in the Music Finder Minder theme is. So there it is, Minder theme. And it shows me it's 114. And when I select it to play now, I'm going to press the Enter button. You'll see it's put Synchro Start, it's put A, and it's put Intro 2. So we've got all those things ready to use. So I'm going to just try it out now, see if it works. A little bit slower. Piano, hopefully. Yeah. So really good setting on that. I'm not going to play it too long, don't worry. So that is a now added Music Finder, and instead of having 1,826 songs that we previously had, we're up to 1,827, and there's a maximum on here of 2,500 songs. So it gives you the opportunity to add loads of your own songs in that quick way, rather than putting them all through into the 8 blue registration buttons. So it's another way of adding specific songs and using the OTS link sounds that Yamaha have given you, which are always pretty good in my opinion, and that will then bring them in. Okay, now while we're on this Music Finder page, we can add more songs to our favourites tab. And this tab here on the main screen, Charlie, is, thank you, you've been quick actually, on the main screen favourites, we can just tab across to just here, and we can see all the songs that we've got allocated as our favourite songs, and it's added Minder theme into there for you. Now if we go back to the all, a lot of people get confused on this page because you can actually sort it by many different ways, And if it's sorted in any way other than alphabetical, it kind of makes it a bit confusing, I think. So we can just press this F button and we can sort it by the style. So all the songs with the same style can be chosen, and that means you could then play a few songs together and the song will carry on with the same backing style. If we press the F button again, it now sorts it by the beat. So is it a 3/4 beat or a 4/4 beat? And then if we go again, it sorts it by the tempo. So songs of the same speed you could tie into a kind of a medley. And if we go to F again, it goes back to music, which is the typical way. Now on the left at the bottom here, if I just go back up to the first letter A banda is the name of a song, which is the first one it tends to give you in the Music Finder alphabetical list. And normally if you want to find a song in this area, you don't have quite the same where you've got search for the name of the song. If we tab across to search here, we could search the name of the song. But if we go to wanting to find a particular song, we know the first letter of it's going to be the name of it. So if it was going to be When the Saints Go Marching In, we can go down with this first column, bottom and top of the buttons underneath, and we can go down until we get through each letter of the alphabet up to Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, and then we've got to go to the second letter. So we've got W for Wake Up Little Susie. If we use these next two buttons here, we can go down, we can go through to W-E, W-H, W, when the Saints Go Marching In. There we go. And that shows us what it's selected to. Now, that's good, but sometimes there are songs and you are sure they will be in there, but they're not, because they're listed under a different name. And it's worth thinking about things like Whiter Shade of Pale. If we go down to Whiter Shade of Pale in the WHs, it's not there because it's a whiter shade of pale. So sometimes you have to just think a little bit more carefully about the song to think, is there another way? Whiter shade of pale. A whiter shade of pale, there we go. Is there another way that it might be typed in just to make sure you can find it? There's nothing worse than being all ready to play something than having to think when you could have just gone straight to the thing. So it shows us on the screen a whiter shade of pale, but you might have to think about how it might be listed. Okay, but certainly the favourites thing is very, very good, and you can just add. Let's say we want to add this one. Add to favourites. Add selected data. Yes. Now, if you've got a Tyros 5 with lots of songs in your favourites list and you actually don't want to keep them in there, you can also delete them from the favourites. So if I put in a whiter shade of pale and think, actually I don't want that in there, I can delete from favourites. Are you sure? Yes. Now, it won't delete it from the whole list. It's only deleting it from the favourites list. So yes. And that just takes it out of the list of songs. There we go. And I can see currently I've got 64 look in my favourites list. And again, you might have lots of jazzy ones in there, so we can sort those if we wanted to. Sort by ascending and descending. It doesn't look like you can sort them by their style. Okay, so yes, we can go into Record Edit and we can delete them from the whole list if we wanted to, delete a whole record, and we can start a new record. So if you wanted to start a new record without going into the style add to MF, we can just press new record on the right of the screen, just here, and that will just start us building up together a new record and then deciding the speed and all the details for it. Or we could delete a record that we just know we're not going to use if we get into capacity of 2,500. Okay, I'll just cancel out of there now, and that's taken me back, and I can exit back to the main screen here of my styles. So we've now covered add to Music Finder, OTS info, recommend, and we've got one more left here called repertoire. Now this is a really good one too. So let's say that you wanted to play a song and you knew what style it was, but you wanted to play some other styles in a medley with that style. So I'm going to come out, and if we go to, let's go to the style section. Let's go into, we'll just go ballroom vocal waltz. Okay, and I'm going to press my repertoire button to see what songs are in the Music Finder that use a vocal waltz. and it's found me too. The Anniversary Waltz and Happy Birthday to You are both recommended in the Music Finder as the vocal waltz. If we go to a different one, let's go to Latin. We'll go to, I think on the Tyros 5, because there's so many styles, each style seems to have less that are straight for that style. But if we go to Jazz Samba here, and I go Repertoire, it looks, it's found me just one, Rio. But because there's more styles, they've kind of given more songs to different specific styles. But there are lots of recommendations, and that just helps you to get a good one. And obviously, as you're adding your own style songs into Music Finder, when you go to a style that you've used a lot, you'll find that you'll actually see all your list coming together because they'll be on the same style. So do use that repertoire feature, and it will look for the style you found and maybe give you a suggestion. It reminds me a little bit of the sound suggestion. So if we go back to the voices, if we go to, let's say we go into brass and we go to the muted trumpet, we've got a button at the bottom here called Demo. Just down here, look, Demo. If I press that, so it's given us a little idea of how to finger those notes to make them sound like the instrument you're using. Let's go to orchestral horns, Demo. So with that harmony coming through, I've got the wrong sound on, so I would do it myself. But if we were using that, it would show us how to finger those notes to get the best. Let's try a guitar. Brilliant sound. And that fret sound, you hear that coming through. Really effective, really effective. Okay, let's see what you've put. Good afternoon, everyone, from Albert Nicholson. Sun is shining. You have to tell us the weather. It's sunny outside, actually, so we're lucky too. I'm off on holiday tomorrow. Is there anything on comparable to style recommend on Genos? I'm not sure that there is. I haven't been able to find anything. If you have got something on there, please tell me on this message thing and I can share it with everybody. I'm not familiar with a style recommend in that respect. Gordon Hughes, hi Gordon. Scott, how big is the storage on Tyros 5? I have a feeling it's a couple of gig. I think it's 2 gig. It's big. It's quite a big memory. But don't hold me to it. I'm just an amateur. Indonesia is coming. Oh, okay. Good afternoon. So yeah, this recommender thing is a clever way to give you some style suggestions for songs. It's just a case that it's not something I believe they took on, and I don't know why, because I actually quite like it too. It just makes you think outside the box. If you're going to play a Chris Rea on the beach, I don't think you'd think of using a polka or something for it, but it has the right emphasis on the beats, and that's the bit that it knows very, very well. So if you have a way of telling me that if it is on there, that's great, but I'm not familiar with that being a facility on the Genos. The Genos is a new model, different features, loads more benefits of the Genos, but I think you'll find that recommend isn't something which is on the Genos. Okay, so let's go through some more stuff with you. On that voice page, we've got some other stuff at the bottom here. So we're on the organ page at the moment, but we've got the demo button at the bottom here. We've got an info button. Now if I press the bottom of number 6, info, it tells me about the way that the extra effects can be used when I'm playing. So it's more effective on something like if I go to a woodwind and I go to one of these articulation sounds. Let's go to the jazz flute and I go to the info at the bottom of number 6. Right, here we go then. So on a jazz flute, Articulation 2 adds detailed phrasing based on your performance by pressing the art buttons before and during playing notes. So what I can do on the left of the panel here, we've got a button that is Articulation 1 and Articulation 2. Now if I press that before I play any notes and I play my note, it does a little grace note bending up. So it puts that extra note in. I can just tap the button and then play the note. If I go to articulation 2, it's a glissando. So instead of being a step, it's actually going to give me a glide up. So if I press articulation 2, play my note, we get blah, 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 and it will do that each time. And it's so accurate. It's just like a flautist would do when they're playing. So the articulation 2, I tend to find I use a little bit more because it's more of a smooth note. The first one was, that's still nice, but now something else I can, if I press harder, we get extra effects. We've got aftertouch, so I can play the note, press it harder, now if I press very hard, it gives that continuous trill effect. It's really good. And you can often see the lips sort of, but it's quite an effective thing. Let's just check your messages. Okay. Dr. O'Heard, 1994. That's a great name. Hey, David, can you play Hadaway? What is love on the live stream, please? What is love? Hadaway. I don't know that song. I'm sorry. I know. What is love? I'm going to have to learn it. I'll try and learn it for you. Oh Heartbeat ITV series. What is love? Oh Heartbeat. I don't know it, I'm afraid. I'll have to come back maybe on another live stream and do that. But I'm sorry. It's not in my vocabulary of songs, I'm afraid. Repertoire. So not today, but maybe I'll do it on another time. Okay. So this articulation thing is very effective. Let's go to a different sound. Let's go this time to a guitar. We'll go to a super articulation steel guitar. Now then, if we just the info at the bottom of number 6, we've got number 1 is body tap. This is where you tap on the front of the guitar. You actually tap the wood and you get the effect. So it's giving us the same kind of effect as if we tap. And the second one is the cutting noise, where you tap in the strings that are hitting the frets. So that's an extra effect that you can bring into your playing from the buttons here. If we're playing the guitar itself, there are some built-in effects which are called super articulation. And what they do is when we play different notes at different speeds, it's almost random, but it gives us the fret in between. I hope you can hear that. So if I just play without everything else on, oh, not that one. And pressing harder, it does that little step. Hear the way it just bends the notes? Just by pressing a little bit harder. So there's lots of little sounds coming in which are nothing that I'm really playing specifically, it's just adding them in and it makes a big difference. So we've got the buttons down the side, but we've also got the way that we press a little bit harder. That's my third note. And I'm getting vibrato there, so there's a halfway hit or a hard. So extra effects, just have a fiddle with them. They're really, really good. We'll just try one more. Let's go to the brass section, and we'll go into a trombone. Okay. So if I press number 1, articulation, let's just check the info first. We've got a slow bend up. So I press my button, I play my note, And you can use this a bit like you might use the pitch bend. But I can just tap the thing, and I can use it on a foot switch. And articulation 2 is glissando up and glissando down. So if I press the button before I play my note, it glides up to the note. And it's still waiting, it's still here flashing for me, but the moment I play the note, if I do articulation 1, now they work opposite. When you let go of the note and you press the button before you let go, so you've got to be playing it first, it will do a different effect. So watch, this is before, hold the note down, press the button again, and let go. It just drops off. And the second one, so it does. I can do the first one upwards, and the second one, and it just does that. Long way there. So they're the articulation effects, and they're very, very good. We can do something else as well. If we play an octave, just go back to the keyboard a minute, Charlie. If I do an octave, I'll do it from the G. It forces it to come in. I don't think it actually mentions it on the bit about the articulation there, but if I play an octave, almost an octave, it does it on the different interval. So that's really nice for, if we go to the clarinet sound, romance clarinet, I can get the sort of strange on the shore. So it's just a kind of practicing and working out where you're going to put those effects. But we can just do it from a touch. And it will drop in and out the octave. And we can push the button here. It just gives us that little effect at the beginning. So that's super articulation. So we've covered demo, we've covered info, voice set. Now this is one of my favourites. Voice set is really clever. What we can do with voice set is we can actually edit a sound. So I'm just going to do it very simply with something like, we use the string sound. Okay, and I'm going to go just to real strings, the first one. And I'm going to go into voice set, which is the bottom of number 5. Okay, now what we've got here is we've got various things that we can edit within that voice. So the first page is the common stuff. This is your touch and the octave range. But if we go to sound, we can change, this is what a lot of the mono, not the mono, well they were mono probably, but the earlier synthesizers had. They had attack, decay, sustain and release. And what these are doing is they're giving us adjustments on the sound to make it our own. And rather than just using the presets that are on the instrument, we can go into the area here, the sound tab of voice set, and we can change it. So my sound at the moment is strings. Let's see what sustain we've got built in. There's a little bit of like a reverb echo, but it's not really a sustain. So release is like sustain. It releases the note slower. So I'm just going to put that up. Let's go a bit higher. Now we could do this on the sustain button over on the right hand panel over here. The sustain button will do that job of bringing sustain in. But if we do it here, we can make it part of the sound. You've got to remember, if you're playing something, you don't want too much sustain because every note's now going to sustain. It's part of my sound. But if we're playing something quite slow, a nice slow waltz or something, we can afford to leave plenty of sustain in there. And they just spread into each other. Take it down a little bit because they're carrying on ages now. Okay. Now what we can also do is we can change vibrato. So if it's a sound that needs the wobbly vibrato, put the depth up. That's far too much. Okay, we've got some other controls over here which are brightness and harmonics. So what I can do, if I change these, they're kind of a little bit changing the brightness of the sound. So there's my new sound I've made. Let's compare it. Press compare. It's the original. And back to my new one. So it's a great way to find your own favourite settings. And although we've started off with a sampled sound, one of the strings in this case, we can totally edit it just using these sliders and make a version of it that suits our palette of ear sounds, or what do you want to call it, and you can make up the sound you want. You've got other things you can go into. I'll just show you. We've got effects like reverb and chorus. We've got that's the harmony page, so we could set a particular harmony that would come on when we're using that effect. We could allocate a particular harmony effect for when you've got it turned on, and we've got common settings like the octave it's coming through on, and LFO is more sort of synthesizer, changing the sound, the modulation, and the whirriness of it. So once I've got a sound I like, I can then press save, and I can press save at the bottom, and then I can name my sound. So I'm going to delete that altogether this time, and I'm just going to put in I'm going to put long, sustain, strings. Okay, and that's now added long sustained strings into my user voice section. So whenever we're in any of the voice, go to the main panel, Charlie. Anything on the main panel. Thanks. Whenever we go to any of these buttons and we're choosing our sounds, if we want to find one of the sounds that we've made ourselves in that area, we go across to user, and there it is, long sustained strings selected. If we wanted to go to the original sound, which was in the string section, there's real strings. But it allows you to use your own ideas to make a sound that you want, and keep it stored in there in the user area. You could then put it onto a stick and share it with other people if you wanted to, but essentially the idea of it is you're adding sounds in the voice set button to new effects, and then you're storing them as your own sound. So the piano, for instance, I quite like the piano. If we go to a grand piano, really nice. We can just tweak it a little bit. So if we go to voice set again, and we'll go across to sound, let's see what we can do to it then. Brightness is what I've done. Bit more harmonics. So I can save that one now. Let's just compare it. It's my new one. Compare. There's a bit more of the brightness in there, so I'll save that. Save as Concert Grand Piano 2. Okay. And then we'll just do one more. We've got our sound of our piano again. And this time we're going to just make it a bit wacky. So I can do lots of changes to it. Let's go back to that previous one, which was this one. We can use the sliders as well. That's not... Oh. This filter one does quite a lot. Or it has in the past. What have I done differently now? Okay, let's go to the sound page then. And we've got the vibrato, the attack, and the taser. Decay, help, release. Just fiddling with it to get a sound you like. Won't be to everyone's cup of tea, probably. Compare it to the original. So if we want to save that, we just go save, save, concert grand number 3 we call it. Okay, so we can make our own sounds and they'll then be found in that voice area, the user area, and they're always available to come back into again. And again, we can go in on the voice set page and make changes there too. Let's just see if any of you commented about my horrible sounds I've made. Nobody at all, so they're obviously all gone. If you've got any questions, do ask us. We're here to help. Okay, so we'll go on from here to the last button. Let's have a quick look. The last button in the voice section is effect type. Now this is an amazing section. It's not what I know a great deal about, but the idea of this area here is it goes into the effects, and you can change a particular guitar or an instrument to have effects that you think suit it best. So what we're in at the moment, electric piano, and we can go into the effect that they've allocated to it, and we can change the settings. I don't know whether you listen to it stereo, but through my headphones it does sound particularly whoa between the sounds. Okay, so we can go into different effects in the modulation section. We've got distortion effects, just like a guitar, or you might use an electric piano. We can go into reverbs, and the beauty is it actually shows us on the screen the exact sort of front panel of the amplifier that we've now got the access to. And this has become very popular in a lot of guitar modeling effects. We've gone into, we've now got it on the keyboard, but the guitar modeling effects started to use the sort of plate of an amplifier that they would be wanting to play through. So a guitar might have the AC30 or the Fender amplifier or one of the Mesa Boogers, and we've got the same choice here. We can go in and we can use all the buttons that you'd have on an American Fender amplifier, and we can use them to tweak our sounds. So we've got a distortion one, and we can put more distortion in, or we can go to EQ, modulation, legacy, reverb, delay. So we can go to a delay pedal like you might have on a guitar. Let's go to we're down the right hand side here, delay. Let's go to that one, and it adds that little repeat. And we can use the same controls that we might have on an amplifier. Feedback, delay. So it's still going. So all these things are worth fiddling with. They're another section. They're good to play with, and you can use those to save into your sounds some extra effects. So that's in the voice page. So any voice page gives you these buttons on the top. Now the last thing it gives you on the end is menu 1. Now if you want to move files around or copy them, then menu 1 is the button you want to go into to go to menu 2. So I'm going to press the bottom of number 8, this one here that it corresponds to. It's in orange, and then it then shows me copy, and depending if I've got a memory stick plugged in and what I'm doing, I can go and copy files, or I could delete a file if it was in the user area. I go to my sounds now. We've got, look, delete, copy, cut. So we can cut it and put it somewhere else. We can copy it and transfer it somewhere else as a duplicate. We can delete it and we can save it. So let's give you an example. If I've got a folder made up, I can open a folder just here called bottom number 7 here, and I'm going to call it, let's just change it to David's folder. So I'll just delete all the letters. I'm going to call it David's folder. Should have an apostrophe in there really. David's folder. Okay, so we've got my folder now, and that will put it at the top of the page, top of the page here, David's folder. Now, what you can do is you can tidy up your desktops, and the way we're going to do that, we're going to cut some of these sounds. I'll put the pianos in it, so we're going to press the cut button, and it says, do you want to cut all of them? I'm just going to choose the ones I want, so I'm going to cut the 2 piano sounds, and I'm going to cut them from my main desktop and hide them away in my folder. So we've chosen the 2 we want, and we go OK with the bottom of number 7, and then we go up to David's folder at the top here, and it's empty at the moment, and I'm going to paste them in. So bottom of number 4, and it will put my 2 pianos now in that folder. Now to come out of the folder, to go back to my desktop again, is the top of number 8. This one here. So I'm going to press top of number 8, and I've now come back and I've got my folder that's there, which we know what's inside it. We've just been in there. We've got long sustained strings we haven't put anywhere yet, and I've got in my folder the 2 sounds I've done. So it's now just tidied it up. Now we could make other folders that we want to put our sounds in, or we could cut this last one out and put it in my folder as well, or we can bring one back. So I'm going to go in there again, and I'm going to go copy and just select one of the sounds, and then OK, and I'm going to come back out of it with the up button, top number 8, and I'm going to paste now, and I put the duplicate that I've just copied into my desktop. There we go. So I've now got long sustained strings on the desktop, and if I go into David's folder, I've got the concert grand as well. If I go to concert here, I've still got concert grand as well in there as a duplicate. There's not a huge amount of benefit in having 2 the same, but if you've got an area where you want to put all your best sounds, that's where you can have them. And we can come back out again with the up, top of number 8, and that takes us back to the folder's name. Okay, let's just see if any of you commented before we finish. Scott in Tyneside, love the vocal sound effects. Well, you can really go into lots of these sounds and find really good settings. Oh, hi, Alpha Lan. Is that one? It says Alpha Alan or Alpha Alan. Nice to have you with us. Thanks for joining us, Alpha Alan. Okay, so we've now moved a few files around, and I've been told there's some more messages. So where are they? Let's have a look. I'm just not getting it, Charlie. I can't see the messages. Can I ask you to find them for me? Pass it out and get it back in a sec. Thank you very much. So we've got an area where we can move, and this works the same in our style section if you've got user styles, but it allows us to move them around. It's a bit scary sometimes to move and change things around, but essentially you've got to remember the top screen, when you press the top of number 8 that many times, comes back to the top screen, and that then allows you to see the main page. And if we want to go in, it's the same as the registrations. If I go to my registration area, I've got this same menu, and I can make a folder by pressing the bottom number 7, and I can tidy things up by putting them into that folder. So again, I'll do the same, bottom number 7. That will now make me a new folder. Thank you. And then if we now transfer these 3 that are empty in the main screen, I'm going to cut them. I'm going to highlight the 3 I want to move, and I'm going to press OK, the bottom of number 7. So yeah, that's right. And then I'm going to go into my folder, and I'm going to paste them in like wallpaper. And there they are. And I'm in the folder now. Look, you can see I'm in it because there's an up. Whenever there's an up, that means you've got deeper into a folder. So top of number 8, and that takes me back to where they are. I could have named it a bit better perhaps. And if you've got a USB plug plugged in with other registrations, that's going to be the last file on the end of that. So USB 1 or 2 depending on where you've plugged it in. Okay, there is another message. Okay, so Glyn Walls, thanks Glyn for joining us. How do you match songs to styles? How do you match songs to styles? Well, that's kind of what we did in the recommender feature, where we played the melodies of the songs, and then it gave us a style that suited. So I think that's probably what you mean. You could go into the styles and listen to them all, but the recommend was a feature we did earlier on that if you go back, you'll be able to read, listen, and it shows us where you play a bit of the melody, and it then gives us a suitable. The other way that I would do it if it's a song in a book, you think, well, I've got no idea what it sounds like, go onto YouTube, put the title of the song in, and listen to some of the variations that are there, because you might just think, oh, sounds like a bossa nova or a ballad or something, and you can get a more suitable style for it. Okay, and we've got a message here from Richard Taylor. It's got Tyros 4 and a 900, and love what you're doing to help us. That's brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Richard. We're enjoying doing it. It's quite good fun. It's quite scary and quite good fun at the same time, really, but it's to give you some help, and anything you want us to cover, do let us know. We're going to do these as regular sessions. The numbers are going to keep going up, and if you're enjoying it, there is a thing just under the video called like, and if you press that little thumbs up like, that means that we'll know that it's worth doing some more, and it just shows us that the video was successful. So under the video, if you see the little thumbs up like, just press that, and that will just show. And if you don't like it, press the dislike. But the idea is it's great for feedback for us, and it shows that our channel is being used by lots of people, and that's great to hear. Although we are a shop, these are for sale. At the moment, this is a 61 note that I'm playing. This is a Tyros 5 61, and currently we're selling them at $2,099, and that's with the speakers as well. There's a matching pair of speakers that work very well with it, and the 76 note version, which is going to give you a bigger range of keys, is actually 6 1/4 octaves compared to 5. We're selling these at $19.99 only because we've got more of them. The 61s have become quite scarce. The 76s, there were more of them sold, so we can do those at $19.99. In fact, I'm going to stick my neck out and say if you buy one, and by the end of the week, we will do one for £150 off. So we will do the 209914 for $19.49 for the 76 note, and we would do the I couldn't do the same deal on this, so I could do £100 off. So this would be $18.99 if you bought a 61 note Tyros 5. So bit of a deal if you buy one on the back of our video. $19.49 for the Tyros 576 with the speakers as well. By the end of this week, we're in the first week of September 2021, and we do £100 off the Tyros 5 61s at the moment. If you've been watching our video and you found it useful, you've got a few more tips now to understand it better. Let's just check your messages. Okay, so Liao Heilong, me too, Scott. That's nice. Thank you very much. And Glim Walls, sorry, came in halfway through. That's okay. Well, that's the beauty of these. You can go back and watch them again.
August, not September.
August. It is August. Okay, let's go back and say the deals I've just said. £100 off a 61, taking it down to $19.99, and £150 off the 76, taking it down to $19.49. It's August, the early August, and this will go till the weekend, that deal for you. So there we go. Terence Parker, great tips, David. I presume all can be duplicated on the SX900. Nearly all of the stuff, yeah. It's very, very similar on the SX900. Scott, everyone is broke, David. Lee and Cornwall, second-hand Tyros 6 or new PSR SX900, better option. It's a really difficult one, this one, because the Tyros 5 has a much richer sound. It's got the separate speakers that just gives it all that oomph. With a 900, I think it's better if you add the separate speaker. It's a touch screen, but I think that everyone's got very familiar with the layout of the 5 buttons down each side and the double buttons on the bottom, and that just makes it very, very clear to use. This is the top of the range. I mean, the other thing to bear in mind, the Tyros 5s probably went up to about £3,800 when they were new, and the SX is like half that price. So you're looking at a very higher level instrument, a little bit older, but with some very high level features on it. And so compared to the SX900, it's not as portable because it has the separate speakers, but I think it's just that little bit richer and bigger sound because it's the top of the range like the Genos has become, and the SX900 is that little lower model. But everyone to their own. The new platform for the touchscreen is great, but this isn't a real problem. We've all got used to it over the last 15 or 20 years using the layout of the Tyros 5. So I think my money's probably on the Tyros 5 for its richness, the option of the 76 notes. If you're not going to take it around anywhere, then the 76 note Tyros 5 is fabulous, and you can split the keyboard where you want it to be, and the speakers that go with them are really top dollar. Okay, I'm going to finish off now. So thanks to everybody for joining us. I'm sorry if I haven't read out your name. Thank you for joining us today. Any questions or things you want us to cover in future videos, do let us know. We are a music shop. Our website is ePianos.co.uk. On the top left of the website page, you've got a menu, and that can go down to choosing accessories. So we have gig bags, stands, covers, sheet music, videos. We have a set of videos for Tyros 5 that we can currently put in free. They're £20 videos. They were the Tyros tipsters that Chris and myself have made over the last few years, and they're $19.99 each. But if you buy one of these from us, we also would include a Tyros DVD set, which is 6 £20 DVDs, and they are just giving you all these tips in separate step-by-step help to help you to learn about the models. Got another message. Do you think they would ever revive the Tyros 5? I don't know. I think they've moved on now. It was the top of its range, and they're now making new keyboards. But they are a wonderful instrument, and for the price, under £2,000 for a keyboard with this calibre of sounds, of memory, they're brilliant. They are very, very good. They're one of my favourites. So thanks for all watching. ePianos.co.uk. Give us a like if you found it useful, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.